Hey, what is up, everyone? It is so lovely to have you here to the Vulnerability Time podcast. I am your host and published author, Trenton Epizon. And with me today, I have a super awesome special guest, Scotty. His name's Scotty. He's from Nashville, Tennessee. He does Muay Thai. He's actually kind of viral, by the way, so that's pretty cool. Like, he went kind of viral, so that we love that. Also, he has his own podcast as well, a fellow podcaster. So by the end, I'll give y'all that information so y'all can check out his awesome podcast, and he'll can tell us a little bit about his podcast. Did I miss anything, Scotty? Did you want to add anything? Did I kind of
Um,
get everything?
yeah, so I'm a YouTuber as well, youtube.com/GerberBird. Well, I guess not as well, but I am a YouTuber, youtube.com/GerberBird.
Can you spell that for us?
GerberBird. It's like the baby food and then the animal bird. If there's one common theme about my channel, I'd say it's that I'm an internet historian. I like to document momentous occasions in internet history. I like to talk to people who I think are interesting internet personalities. That's what our podcast is all about, Wild Celebrities A-List. And yeah, that's pretty much the gist of it.
Yeah. And I mean, just to test from him, y'all, I actually um, got a lot of inspiration from him and his podcasts. I think it's a pretty cool podcast, and I'm not just saying that as cliche shit, because you know how things can be cliche sometimes. People say cliche things. I truly, genuinely mean it. I think it's definitely worth giving it a watch, you guys. And yes. So with that being said, I mean, so today's topics are going to be about a form of addiction, and this is not necessarily saying, oh, a drug addiction or like a porn addiction. At least for me, like that's the only two types of addiction that come to mind when I hear the word addiction, because that's like kind of what's been taught to me. So we're gonna be going into like internet addiction, but like not the porn, like it's just like a YouTube addiction. Well, Scotty will he'll delve and explain more of that through his journey. We're also going to go a little bit with, body acceptance and a confidence journey. Um, and we're going to learn that, just learn more of that perspective from Scotty's own experiences. And then again, thank you so much, Scotty, for even being on here and, sharing your vulnerability, with us.
All right, so
Wait.
oh,
Fun fact. I'm gonna use our other intro. I did. Okay. Anyways, yeah. Let's get this ball going, my dude. Oh, I'm gonna edit that part out. Yeah. Okay. Let's get this ball going. So I mean, what started you? Well, I'm gonna use that as well. So yeah, tell us a little bit about your form of addiction, and how that came to be.
so I have what I guess you would call me terminally online. I'm kind of addicted to the internet and YouTube, and I think because of that, I've developed an extreme case of uh, how would you say it? Just poor social skills. I'm very quiet and reserved. Don't know how to talk to people, and most of my time, my free time, if I don't have any obligations or anything planned out, I'm watching YouTube. Um, when I was a kid, so my parents were never together while I was alive. When I was born, they had already split, and I lived with a single mother, and I had visitation with my father, who lived an hour away every other weekend. So I lived with my mom most of the time. Then half of all of my weekends up until I was 18, I went to my dad's house an hour away in a city where I didn't know anyone or go to school there.
Mm,
And
gotcha.
my mom also worked, so pretty much I would go to school, come home, and I would have to entertain myself until I went to bed and went to school the next day. So when I was like 7, I found out about YouTube through Ryan Higa.
Mhm.
I had seen some of his videos on some other site. I think it might have been y8.com or something. But after that, the rest was history. I was 7 years old when I found out about that. It was 2007. And from then on, I pretty much lived on the website. I would
Hmm.
watch people like Robert Benfer, Ed's World, um,
Yeah.
Nigahiga, Smosh.
So basically, what I'm hearing, is that, you did the best that you could, in that time, when you were a child experiencing, the loneliness. Because I mean, like you said, you didn't know, it was a small town, you didn't know anyone. And it's like kind of like the internet, specifically in this point, YouTube was kind of like, it was a way to, feel a part of and feel a sense of belonging. Am I right?
Yeah, YouTube was cool back then.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
was. I always thought it was better than the stuff on TV.
yeah.
I never struggled to find something that would make me laugh on YouTube. And then um, it was worsened by the fact that every other weekend I had to spend time out of town at my dad's house with my stepmother, who I did not like.
Mm,
Um, and to entertain myself in this town where I knew no one and had nothing to do, I would just
right.
king hour. It got to the point where every time I was there, I would stay up till 4 or 5 in the morning
Hmm.
until they were about to wake up, watching YouTube and shit, playing games.
Yeah.
I would go to sleep and then wake up like noon, 2 p.m., some late time, and then repeat the cycle.
So it's like
Uh,
kind of like YouTube, you were getting that human interaction that you needed from, YouTube. And you mentioned how that, contributes to, the lacking in social skills, because, it's like you didn't really have like the human beings, around you. You kind of like had YouTube, and you did what was best for you. And that's the thing, a lot of the things in life, that once served us as kids, eventually as we get older, sometimes it stops serving us, and it starts, we just, we see a lot of, I guess, harms that can come from, things that once didn't necessarily harm us, that things that, we needed to do. Um, is that what I'm kind of hearing a little bit?
yeah, so I think the thing with being addicted to the internet like that is it warps your sense of humor. It's a dopamine addiction. So as you watch more and more stuff, your interests and sense of humor become more and more niche. And it's very similar to a porn addiction. It's actually the same chemical, dopamine, that causes you to develop strange fetishes.
Mm,
Um, and I feel like that's really put a damper on my to relate to my peers at the
right.
time, at least. Even today, still. I mean, everyone's on the internet now, so it's lessened. But back then I was always a bit of a weird kid. Um, yeah, just find it. I struggled to laugh at the same things other people do, and it would cause me to kind of, emulate what I saw in the YouTube videos, trying to make a fool of myself a little bit to make people laugh.
Right, right.
Um, it was
Yeah.
worsened. I mentioned I was at my dad's house every other weekend. They really did not like that sort of behavior, and they saw that I was spending way too much time online. So they tried to limit me to an hour a day on the computer and playing games in general,
Hmm.
which really made me just more resentful of them and my time there.
Right.
Uh,
Because
I
it's
just
like they
hated
were
life.
like taking away, whether they knew it or not, they were kind of like, from what I'm hearing, correct me if I'm wrong. It's like they were like, taking away the only uh human interaction other than them, the only human interaction that, you were able to get, in a town where you didn't know anyone, and it was a small town, and, You weren't close to your step mom at all, and so it's like, I mean, it makes a lot of sense, and it's very understandable, that that would definitely bring some resentment. You know what I mean? That was how
Yeah.
you got what you needed. Was through YouTube. That was like the human interaction that we needed growing up.
I
You
mean,
got that
looking
through that
back,
time.
I definitely see their point. I would not want my kid to be online all the time. In fact, I would preferably have my children spend as little time online as possible.
Hmm.
Um,
Gotcha.
but it's just a matter of how they handle it. Like, you have to, the only way to quit an addiction is to replace it with something else, and you have to provide something of value
Yeah.
that a kid is going to, want to do, that's going to be good for them.
Right.
You can't force them into that. It's just going to make them miserable and it's going to make it worse.
Mm. Yes. That reminds me of something that I just actually found out. There's a such thing as healthy addictions. We call those also habits as well. But how the human mind, a lot of it is formed from addictions, and it's just like some of those are healthy, some of those are more hindering to us. But it just seems like the mind is just trying to do the best it can to give us what it thinks it needs or what it needs.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, if you think about what an addiction is, you're addicted to that feeling of dopamine you get from doing something. Your body thinks that's good. Like, you get dopamine from eating and
yeah,
socializing, doing all these things. Your body can't tell the difference. So it's trying to serve you, but it's just a matter of what you're actually doing.
right, right. Yeah, like a lot of things, with our brain, when let's say if we have a quote unquote unhealthy urge to do something, there's something that the brain is wanting to do. It's wanting some form of comfort, it's wanting some form of um redemption, protection, security, I mean a multitude of things. And it's just like, our brain doesn't always know how to do that in the societal healthy way or just in a healthy way in general. And I mean, at least, I mean, this subject matter in general, is something that it's new to me. Because I'm finally learning that, and I hope that a lot of people can, learn from what you just said as well, that our brain, let's not be too hard on ourselves and think we're like insane or crazy or something like that. It's like a lot of the times the brain is just trying to help you. It just doesn't always know how to. So sometimes we need certain treatments or interventions or others to kind of help us. Like we can't do a lot of things on our own. There's a lot of things that, we just can't do on our own. And the brain, we need each other. You know what I mean? We need, and going back to that human interaction, it's like humans need each other. I don't know if that makes sense. Does that make sense? Did I make that make sense? Or
Yeah,
say better words for me, because I was like, I'm struggling to verbalize.
I think you'll go a little crazy if you don't have some form of social interaction. I mean, it's
Right.
often said that humans are social creatures. The problem with the way I was getting human interaction was that it was completely input and no output for my end. You're just consuming
Oh,
something, which I don't think is good for the brain,
right.
and why my social skills today are hampered so much.
That makes sense. That makes
But
sense.
I'd like to make the point that I don't think I'm cursed forever. I think you can always work on these things. If I make a point to improve my openness and talking to people, you can learn these skills. I mean, it's just something you have to put time into, like you would put time into developing your physique or your
Right,
skill
right.
at a sport or anything like that.
Yeah. Hey, that's awesome. See, I know somebody needed to hear that. I know I fucking needed to hear that. I'm literally not just saying that. I needed to hear that. it's good to have that reminder. Um, and I mean, you mentioned physique, and I know one of the things that that you've overcame and still working on and overcoming is body acceptance. Tell us a little bit about that. I mean, now you have muscles for days and you're killing it, but it wasn't always like that. And how that impacted with body shaming, body positivity, things of that realm. Just I would love to know a little bit more about that from your perspective.
Yeah, so I was a gamer. I was always on YouTube. I was playing League of Legends all day. My parents didn't care what I ate, really. They didn't have any nutritional knowledge. They don't know how to eat right either. So I pretty much was just eating like shit, not moving. I got up to 230. I'm 5'11", by the way, 230 pounds in my junior year of high school. And during my time in school, I was the kid who would walk the mile. I would I took a C in gym class because I wouldn't change in the locker room. I would not take my shirt off in front of other kids, and I would literally just sit on the bench. I hated PE, anything physical back then.
Right.
But honestly, my biggest motivation to lose weight was watching stuff like Dragon Ball Z, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure when I was like 15. These characters are ripped, and some of the people I met online too. Like I had some friends who browsed the fitness board of 4chan that definitely inspired me a lot. But the summer after junior year, I started my starvation diet, which I don't recommend, by the way. This is not a good way to lose weight. You're just going to get skinny fat and hate yourself still.
Yeah.
What I did was I would occupy myself with either games or anime, and I would eat once every 24 hours. I would either eat like a bag of frozen peas or a cup of ramen. So about 300 calories a day, and then if I was really painfully hungry, I would have some rice cakes. And I did that all summer. I lost 70 pounds. I got down to 160 for my senior year. And then I quickly got back up to 170 once I started eating normal. I was still, at this time, gaming all day, doing nothing physical. And then I got, ramped back up until college. I was about 190, 200 pounds, and I stayed 200 pounds until the beginning of 2021, where I started lifting seriously and educating myself on nutrition.
That's a huge thing, educate.
Yeah, now I'm back down to 160, a lot more muscle mass, and
yes,
less body fat. Still not perfect, I've done basically permanent damage to my body. Luckily, while I was young, so the effects wouldn't be as bad as if I was 30 years old and I was as fat as I was. But I still have some stretch marks, some loose skin, and some flab. So not ideal, but I am doing the best with what I had.
Yeah. And Scotty's killing it, you guys. It's a lot of determination. Dude, I think that's honestly extremely inspiring. And something that I wanted to point in on, I hated PE as well. I wore my PE clothes under my actual clothes because I was too scared to change in front of others. And the one time that I did change, this was in middle school, I was made fun of because I was too skinny. Now I'm at a place where I love my body. I love my physique now. However, I didn't always look how I look now. And unfortunately, that really contributed to a lot of my insecurities and a lot of hate towards my body, and so body shaming, it wasn't really anything positive for me. In fact, it kind of made things worse for me. However, I know that you have a different experience with that.
I just believe in being realistic. You know, there are beauty standards that we all subscribe to, whether you want to admit it or not.
Yeah,
And I thought I looked a bit ridiculous in clothes. You know, I didn't think 230 was a good look on me. I think if I, you know, had that level of body acceptance, I would have never made that change. And I'm definitely a lot happier now than I was back then.
Mm,
But I think it's good for me that I was realistic about my body and I didn't coddle myself too much.
right,
I don't think I would have made the progress.
right. So you're saying about you've experienced, you know, benefits from the body shaming, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, it's negative reinforcement. I don't know too
Gotcha.
much about psychology, if that stuff works or not, but it did for me. I didn't want to get made fun of for being fat.
Mm,
It's social repercussions.
mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, social repercussions. That is huge. That is huge. At least in this society today, I see a lot of pretty privilege. And what that is, you know, for those who don't know, because this was a new term for me when someone said I had pretty privilege. I was like, what? I'm like, I don't know what that is, but I want to find out what that is. And you know, it's basically when you get treated a certain way because you look quote unquote good or to an acceptable societal image. Um, and at least for me, you know, I like fashion. I like to dress up, you know, especially when I have my hair cut and my hair, you know, all nice and dyed and curly and all that good stuff looking phenomenal. I get treated differently than when I'm just like in sweats. Okay, well, I don't wear sweats, but like in a jacket, like
Yeah,
just
I
a
mean,
regular just jacket. I'm not dressed up looking all, you know, fashionable. I definitely get treated differently. I wouldn't say I'm treating like worse, but it's different, you
yeah,
know.
this is getting into black pill territory, but you know, it's like the people will do videos making fake Tinder accounts and they'll use their actual profile
Mhm.
and then they'll make another profile using the exact same lines uh, with, you know, a picture of a Chad model guy,
Mm.
and the results are, you know, completely 180, like shit that you would never get away with as a regular human being if you
Mm.
look that good. Like, it doesn't matter.
Right. Wow. You know, so yeah, it's I mean, I like that unique, interesting perspective that you had, you know, that I never really heard about, you know, is, well, basically what I'm hearing is, you know, the body shaming, you took that. You know how they say, you know, if life gives you lemons, make lemonade. I
Yeah,
like to be weird and say if life gives you lemons, find a way to make orange juice. I don't know. Why not? Clearly anything can happen. I mean, it's just like this whole 2020 thing, anything could happen. Like, so I just like to, you know, make myself laugh with that. Just find a way to make orange juice. But you made some orange juice out of it, you know? It's like
yeah.
society gave
Funnel-
you lemons and you made some orange juice, a nice smoothie and all that good stuff.
I loved lemons as a kid. I saw in Billy and Mandy,
Oh
the
yes.
episode with the killer clowns, they would cut the oranges in half and suck on them. We didn't have any oranges, so we had a bunch of lemons. So I started doing that with lemons. I would cut lemons in half and I would scrape the meat out with my teeth and then squeeze
Sheesh.
all the lemon juice into my mouth. I got really addicted to sour food. I still really love sour foods to this day.
Mm-hmm.
Like I would have my mom buy like the liter bottle of lemon juice when I
Mm-hmm.
was a kid, and I would just sip on that. I fucking love lemons, man. I would literally go through like 2, 3 lemons a day, which is horrible for your teeth. Luckily, my teeth are not too bad. I mean, they're all right, but
He
um,
showed me his teeth, everybody, by the way. We're video chatting, by the way, just for everyone to know.
I do have slightly buck teeth,
But like, wait, doesn't
and
everyone?
it
I don't.
causes like a. I think I have a bit of an overbite. Like
Oh, that's what you
this
mean.
this is like the natural position of my closed jaw. This
I
is
guess
uncomfortable for me. I don't know how your teeth are supposed to be, but
I my teeth, like, I had braces for my overbite and it like fixed my teeth. However, my teeth don't stand exactly like on each other. Like the front teeth don't stand exactly on each other. That is so uncomfortable. I hope that's not how it's supposed to be, because if it is, I don't want it. I was like, I don't want that. No, like I feel like I bite my tongue much more. I bite my lip much more. Anyways, all the fun stuff. Um, but something I forgot to ask is, so how did the addiction, the thing that served you um when you were a child, which I see a lot of that says a lot about you. You know what I mean? You did what you needed to do. You did what your brain, what your body needed to do. You know, you took the tools that was and were not given to you, and you built something out of it that worked for you. So you got what you needed. You know what I mean? I think that that's pretty cool that you did that, my dude. You did that. So applause for that. But how did that, as well as when you were in middle school and you weren't at the weight that you would like, how did all of that, or did any of that affect your mental health? And if so, what ways? And how has it like progressed now, if it has progressed?
yeah, I had absolutely no confidence. I hated my body. I mean, what more can you say? I never talked to women. I mean, I still don't. That's just because, I pretty much gave well, I don't want to go there, but
It's vulnerability
social
time.
ineptitude. Um,
Yeah. Gotcha.
yeah. Um,
Do you
so,
do you feel
uh,
like sorry, go ahead.
yeah, it was something I've always been insecure about. I would never, like, if you look at my Instagram, I don't have any pictures from over a year ago. Well, like, I guess I don't have any pictures from like over 2 years ago before I started losing weight.
Yeah. Gotcha,
I
gotcha.
I I absolutely hated having pictures taken when I was a kid. Um, yeah,
Gotcha.
like I would refuse to be in family photos. I would get mad if they took family photos and posted them with me in it.
Mm.
Hated that crap.
To everyone listening and who really resonates with that, with a lot of what Scotty said, um, let this be a reminder that you are not alone in this struggle that you are currently facing right now. You are not alone. Okay. And I just want to thank you, Scotty, for allowing others to heal with you, um, and from you. Thank you for being vulnerable and sharing all of these things. That's super important, and a lot of these things aren't talked about. I mean, I learned a lot from you, and I just want to say I appreciate your authenticity. I appreciate, your determination. Um, from what I see, and I mean, I would assume everyone else would agree, is that, I'm hearing a story of redemption here. Just me looking at you, I mean, just the small time that I've known you, I mean, I do see redemption. Um, and I want everybody to know, Scotty has definitely been a hope for me. I went through something that kind of didn't, it just threw all hope. um, in the aspect of like, should I even be myself anymore around males? Because there was something that happened with my fraternity brothers. I won't get into that, but it left me feeling very insecure and hopeless. And the fact is, like, you know what? Like, why do I even try to be myself around males? Why can't I just be quote unquote normal? I hate using that word, so I'm using quote unquote. And literally the next day, y'all, I met Scotty, and Scotty gave me hope. And this is like our second take on the podcast, because I fucked up. It accidentally stopped recording halfway through. But we still, we still covered everything in this one. In fact, in a more clearer way. So I did want y'all to know this is not cliche. I actually started tearing up when I told Scotty this. He didn't know this. I wanted to tell him on the podcast for a reason, to show people, like, you know what, just you being you, it's so important to people. And though someone may not always say it to you, because a lot of people, they just assume that or they don't really think to tell you. Not saying that they're bad people, but I wanted to give Scotty honor and let him know, with everyone, how important you can be to someone and not even know it. And so thank you, Scotty, for being born and still being on this earth and impacting my life. And I truly mean that once again. Now, I'm not getting teary-eyed this time, but I still mean it. Hashtag everyone, I am emotional. I will cry about anything, and I love that. Yes, so with that being said, thank you all so much for listening. Scotty, give us your Instagram and your podcast so we can all go check it out, and respell Gerberbird for us, because I don't know how to spell that either.
I'm gonna make you edit that out because I want to add something to what you said.
I'm
gonna make you redo the outro, but yeah, it's funny you mentioned that thing about like not knowing how much you mean to someone, because that is kind of my story with Thomas. Like I was his biggest fan on Facebook for years, and I never talked to him. I would like see every post he made. Him, like a lot of my people that I'm now friends with on Facebook, him, our friend George, our friend Davon. Like I was a lurker. I would always, I loved the stuff they posted, but I never interacted with them or said what's up.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until like a year and a half ago, I finally messaged Thomas after we'd been like kind of friends but not very close, and you told him about all this, and he's like, wow, I never even knew like you were there, really. Like I never knew you were watching that closely, because I really always admired the stuff he did. And yeah, now he's one of my best friends.
Yes.
Pretty good friends with George and all of those people too. So let people know how much they mean to you. I had the same conversation with him about one of the Pokemon YouTubers I used to watch back in the day, actually. Like, this guy doesn't make videos anymore. He probably doesn't even think about his YouTube channel anymore, because he made videos back in like 2008. He had a few thousand subscribers, and then he kind of like fell off and doesn't do anything, and he hasn't made any videos in over 10 years. But I watched every second of everything he uploaded, and he definitely does not realize now that there are people like me who were influenced so heavily by all the stuff he put out, and how much of a positive impact he had on us.
Wow, that's awesome. Dude, by the way, y'all will meet Thomas. Him and Scotty will be on an upcoming episode, and I will keep y'all informed on that. What was that? Something about a tree. What was that Thomas mentioned?
Yeah. So when I talked to Thomas after not really speaking to him too much, so I become friends with him on Facebook in like 2016, and it wasn't until 2020 that I finally messaged him, like, and we talked like regular friends. And I said, I've always been like a fan of yours. Why are we never friends? He said, when the best time to plant a tree is? It was decades ago, but the second best time is today. And that blew my mind.
Mind blown. I remember, when you had first told me that on our first recording. That, sheesh. We love Thomas, y'all. We love Thomas. So that theme basically is, it's never too late. Someone needs to hear this. It is never too late. You are not alone. There is a Scotty on this earth who can relate to you, okay? And you can relate to him. And y'all will meet Thomas. What I will do is, in the episode description, y'all, I will also put Scotty's information. and things about his podcast as well, so y'all can give that a check out. And also I'll put my information of my Instagram. And real quick before we leave, I do want to say, one, Scotty, I'm not going to edit anything out. It's vulnerability time. It's going to be vulnerable.
Okay.
This podcast is not going to be perfect, everybody. I'm a fuck up, and I'm going to fuck up. I will say, so how this podcast will work, everyone, is every other episode, there will be a special guest. And every other week, I'll be talking about the same topic as the special guest, but I will be sharing my personal story with it, so that I can also in a healthy way, force myself to, be more vulnerable, because I'm realizing, vulnerability is hard, but it's not always about me. Sometimes other people need to hear, vulnerability is growth, y'all.
Speaking of growth,
yeah, go for it.
I'm gonna cut you off.
Oh,
a book recommendation for everyone is The Mindset, The New Psychology of Success by Carol Dweck.
Is that on Amazon?
I'm sure. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Okay.
There's
cool.
The audiobook is on YouTube. That's where I listened to it. That book shaped the way I think about gaining skills and self-improvement, and it's a great book. You need to listen to it or read it.
That is awesome, my dude. Thank you so much for these resources. Ooh, let me be a mess and also mention my book as well, y'all, because I forgot. If y'all would love to check out my book on Amazon, just type in It Is Spoken by Trenton Epizon. Epizon is spelled Epizon. I will also put that in the episode description. It's a poetry book. It's very, very easy, quick read. But basically, it's vulnerable. There will be moments where you may cry. There will be moments where you will be so happy and cry tears of joy. And you will also see that you are not alone. And it's a story of redemption. And I'm still in the redemption process. But, it's great to have reminders, that damage doesn't mean done. And that it's literally not over until it's literally over. And I'm just thankful as well for Scotty, because he is an example of that. With that being said, y'all, I will be posting episode will be dropped on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor, and as of right now, yes, once every 2 weeks on a Friday. And so tune in next time. I will be talking about my story with body acceptance, my forms of addiction, and how that affected my mental health as well. Alrighty. Thanks so much, Scotty, and thank y'all so much for listening. Totally, we'll see y'all next time. Yes. Okay. Bye.
Subscribe.
Yes.